Right then, Silver Tongue Devil here. We're going to be looking at Siege of Heaven. We're going to be looking at a more intermediate and to advanced concepts thing here. First things first, as you'll see there, I've got 96% of the achievements done. You want to be in the sort of 90, 95, 100% region. It just means that you're going to have plenty of starting gold, which is going to guarantee us to be able to at least buy the first 3 times, maybe the second, without having to score too high in this first wave. Also ensure that you have the Tempest upgrade. Now, first shot here is a little bit more advanced, so your intermediate crew, practice it, but don't expect to have to hit it. The reason why I go for that one is it's worth 2k just straight off the bat. You perfect it, it's all of a sudden worth 4k because it doubles it. You hit a shot before you hit that double gap shot, you're then talking 4k and then doubled to 8k with the perfect. So we're going to be looking at intermediate concepts and advanced. I'll try and label them as I go. As far as the intermediate crew is concerned, what we want to be looking at doing here primarily is we want to be looking at simple headshots. We want to be keeping them in the ranges that we were working at last time. So this courtyard area. This is where we want to be hitting the 3rd headshot to spawn the Cupid. And we want to be keeping things nice and fluid and smooth, remembering to use your slow time so that you can take stock of your surroundings and your situation that you're in. That 4 times that we've got unlocked there is a reasonably important one. For the more advanced amongst you, if you can hit a Cupid in that lit courtyard, where we're going to start putting these headshots down now, just here, if that Cupid goes towards that 4 times, that's a shot that you should be making if you're more advanced. As far as intermediate is concerned, just hit the Cupid. So, straight onto arrow strategy, you'll see RNGs with me, and I've got that 3 times Tempest. For the intermediates, and I suppose the advanced amongst you, just stick to buying Tempests. It's what you need to score big. Intermediates, just stick to that advice. Advanced, there are other applications and uses of the other arrows, but you don't really need them. So all levels at this stage, let's just stick to Tempests. It's less for us to worry about, less for us to buy, less to stock in the quiver, so on and so forth. So going back to it, headshots. Count your headshots. So as you're hitting them, for the intermediates amongst you and the advanced if you need to, count them out. 1 headshot, 2 headshot, 3 headshots. Try and keep stock of how many headshots you have hit before a wave finishes. They do carry over. Reason being is what you don't want to do is put a very long range Tempest headshot in and spawn a Cupid, or hit a headshot close by and then have to react to the Cupid flying out, as opposed to slow motioning as you hit and then hitting the Cupid as it spawns. Okay, so wave 4's our first kind of scoring opportunity. Keep that cash flow going because there's an orphan on here. We want to be getting into combo, so either 1 or 2 hits and then using the slow-mo button to take stock of where the orphan's coming in from, banging that Tempest in. It's either going to spawn far left or far right. You want to be hitting it as far out as possible. For the more advanced amongst you, you want to be making that a headshot by raising where you would normally aim to try and catch the head with the radius of the Tempest shot. That's another shot that I just put in with the Tempest that both levels can go for. It needs to be a headshot, otherwise you won't kill it. If it's in combo, it's kind of worth some points. Again, going back to the whole, if we keep on scoring points, we'll have the money if the opportunity comes up to buy those arrows. Now, both levels here, our only real opportunity to get Tempest arrows is going to be the shop. We want to be banging the 2 times and we want to be grabbing the 3 times as well. Make sure you check what that orphan's dropped for you as well. Might get lucky, might be another Tempest. Get it in the quiver regardless, and on we go. So wave 5 can have scoring opportunities in it again for that double gap. You do have to be a little bit conservative with your Tempests depending on how good you get. Another little spicy advanced shot there, and then back to headshots. 1, 2, 3. Nail that Cupid, and then carrying on with the headshots where we can. Again, keeping them reasonably straightforward and simple. I've missed one, so I'm just going to tidy things up. I do get 2 headshots there, so those 2 headshots, as I spoke about before, will carry on into the next wave, which means that this first next shot is going to be a Cupid spawning shot, and we want to remember to keep stock of that so that we're not surprised by it. Now, we are going to waste that factor because we're going to go for these 2 knights here, and we're going to try and headshot those 2 knights and try and include the zombies behind them. Now, that has spawned a Cupid. I didn't need to take those shots. It has now wasted my perfect for the round, and I didn't even get it either. So let that be a lesson to you all. Back to headshots. Still keep on doing those Cupids. This is worth points. Remember that the skulls are classed as a headshot, so they're a good way to be your 3rd headshot in a row. You can also leave them a bit longer because they're a larger target. Let them get a little bit closer to the gate so that you can then spawn that Cupid with the hopes of it flying at a decent angle or across the front of you, which is just an easier shot. So we're on to wave 6 now. This is where your first reasonably good scoring opportunity comes along if they all group up right and if they all group up nice. I don't think they did for me. I took the shot anyway just to again demonstrate what you can do. Skeletons, your intermediate crew, bodies. Advanced, you want to be starting to think about headshotting those guys. If you are in the midst of a big combo, both levels just body them. They're not worth the risk. They're faster moving. The only tip really that I can give to the more advanced of you is you usually have to aim a little bit further afield, a little bit further ahead, and lead them a little bit further than you think to get that headshot. As far as body shots at both levels, centre of mass, let them have it. So on to the next one. No tempests, not bothered, crack on. So wave 8, another little orphan opportunity for us. This time, because it's a bigger wave and there's going to be more shots in between before we get that orphan. Little spicy one for the advanced there. That was a body shot as well. Just go for body shots at the moment for that one. Keep doing what we're doing. We're looking to try and get headshots and a Cupid before the orphan spawns, if we can. You'll see that she spawned from the left. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let her go away, and what I was trying to do here was get the headshots to get the Cupids to hopefully spawn 4 times and hit the orphan in that 4 times. However, I got the Cupid, didn't get 4 times, and missed the orphan. But never mind, we crack on. So again, carry on with those headshots. More advanced, leave that. Headshot a little late. Get the orphan over the 4 times, it's worth a decent amount of points. Intermediates, just kill the orphan. Now I've already missed a shot here, so I'm just going to get this one tidied up nice and quickly for us. Still try and get those headshots, still try and get those orphans. It's still worth points at the end of the day. No tempests for us, no worries. We move on. Make sure you're checking what the orphan has left for us. Oh, lovely little tempest. Yep, we'll take that. So these next few levels, it's going to be pretty much humdrum, headshots, Cupids, more advanced. You want to be aiming those Cupids to land in those 4 times. Look out for those little spicy gap shots. Tempest them if they come up. If you can have a 4 times lit at the back and the tempest opportunity comes up, you'll get a lot more points out of that, but you'll see better examples of that in later waves. Wave 11 is what we're waiting for next. That one's going to have an orphan on it, so a bit more of a scoring opportunity on that one. So one of the things that I was going to look at is the RNG. It is a factor. can be a reasonably big one. If you are scoring well and getting the arrows in the shop, you can kind of mitigate that a little bit. And if you're also hitting orphans and Cupid headshots, again, you can kind of mitigate that, but we're not there on Cupid headshots just yet. The RNG affects what is on the 1x, 2x and 3x spots as far as the chests are concerned. It's also going to affect what the orphans give you and obviously what the Cupids give you. So those are factors. Another factor is that certain waves enemies can spawn from several locations. It's usually the same sort of groups and always the same enemies in the same waves. So, for instance, wave 7 is always the first appearance of a skeleton. You always get 4, one comes at you normally, then the other 3 or 4 I think it is coming in group, and they always have a skull above them. That is a factor because in these later high scoring waves, sometimes big groups could come down the stairs at the back, which is where we want to be banging in our big shot. Other times, not so many. Sometimes they can come early, sometimes they can come late. We want them ideally to come late. Reason being because then we can rack up quite a large combo and almost always ensure we have that 4x at the back ready for the Tempest shot. You'll see just then as well I fired a Tempest into a skull. Now if I'd have not shot the skull with the Tempest, I may have got some headshots on the skeletons in that 4x, which if you're on a decent combo can be worth some points. Because we hit the skull with the Tempest, it'll count everything as a multi-kill. So here's our wave 11. We are gonna again try and get on combo, stay on combo whilst we wait for the orphan to spawn in. If she spawns in at this stage, because we're at wave 11 now, on the left, we want to be letting her run the left. If she spawns on the right, there's not really any good scoring opportunities for her unless we've got 4x up. So this is something that you need to judge at the time that you're taking the shots. Now we've got plenty of 4x up. We have dropped a shot, so we're not on combo at this point. But we're trying to get her on there now. I've seen the orphan come. We're going to try and get a bit of a combo going before we take the shot. She will dip into this 4x at the back ever so slightly, and we want the headshot while she's there. For the more advanced amongst you, for the intermediates, just body shot her when she gets into that 4x. If we hadn't dropped a shot at this point, because that was worth quite a few points, at this point it would then be a case of try and stay on combo. For the intermediates of you, break combo, concentrate on knocking the shots out and killing the enemies. For the more advanced, you can start thinking about putting shots on enemies at the top of the stairs or to the platform to the right to try and keep your combo going. So we'll just get this wave tidied up, and then we're going into wave 12. Which, if memory serves, is the big one. Now, we're on about 700,000 points at this stage. Just finish up these last couple. There we go. So, on to wave 12. I did some headshots on the Cupids, couldn't resist. So I had some extra arrows to pick up. Grab the 2x because we've got plenty of money at this stage, and I'd rather definitely have more Tempests than possibly get more Tempests next round. Now we want to be keeping this combo going and hoping that the group of enemies and knights come down the middle steps at the back late when we have a 4x lit up there. Now, one of the things I'm trying to do here is delay the combo. By that, I'm using a combination of slow time and leaving the music as late as possible to get my shots off. and that then gives enemies around the rest of the stage time to advance. One of the things that you'll notice, other than that little spicy double gap shot and the occasional shot at the top of the stairs, I'm not doing anything like serious shot moves. I'm just trying to keep it simple and keep it easy. I'm trying to make the job easier for myself. Now, here's our first opportunity with that Tempest. Wasn't a knight, but he's coming now. I've seen him. I'm moving slightly over to the right to get into position, and I'm going to fly through those pillars, aim high to make sure I get the headshot, and that's 330 points right there. Another knight in the 4 times. That's another 357 or 357, and then that last one is worth 360. Now, at this point for the advanced, keep on shooting. Try and be a little bit more conservative, because that's almost just over 1,000,000 points there that we've got, and if we can perfect this wave, it'll double it. For the more intermediate of you, the intermediate crew, I would recommend at this point going ultra conservative and just body shotting things, not worrying about cupids, just getting things finished up and just perfecting the level. Remember, to perfect the level, we can't allow anything to go through the gate. Now, I found that shot up on that skeleton. Skeletons are and will become the bane of you and every other Siege of Heaven player. That speed can really put you off. It's the arrow that you're going to miss. So we've got 3 times there. Just a quick note as well, if I had perfected that, we'd be looking more at a 3 million point score as opposed to almost at the 2 millions at this stage. So I don't think I get much more as far as this is concerned in the realms of scoring opportunities. I do go for this red knight here because I have no combo. I think he's only worth about 16k. Now that's not a bad shot because it was the 3rd headshot I'd got to in the previous, is why that Cupid spawned back there. In early waves I wouldn't bother tempesting those Cupids because you need those resources. However, in late waves it can sometimes be worth it just to get more 4 times lit. It's another factor of RNG as well. There is no way that you can determine which of the 4 times areas will light up. It's a random thing. Obviously, you can only light up all 4, so the more you light up, the more chance you have of either hitting the one that you're after or already having it. Going for zombies at the back there in that 4 times can be worth it if you ensure that you get the headshot and you ensure that you're on a decent multiplier. Knights are the prize there, and skeletons as well. Skeletons can be worth quite a lot of points on those 4 times. Ultimately, headshotting knights, skeletons, combinations of the 2 and big groups on that 4 times is where you will see a lot of points. Now this stage at the back end of wave 13, we just want to be finishing up what we can here. Wave 14 and 15 aren't usually that lucrative. If you have plenty of Tempests, there can be opportunities with the Black Knights, and if you can headshot them in the 4 times areas, they can be worth probably the most points that you can get, but those opportunities are usually quite rare. So because we haven't got much left in the ways of scoring opportunities, we'll have a look at taking those spicy shots and missing them there. So just to add some more detail to the reason why we're kind of only really using Tempests here. Incursions, intermediate, advanced, you're not going to need them. There is a little bit of use for them, what I'd class as expert, I guess. Again, when you start getting to expert, we're only looking at marginal gains. It's what we sorry few at the top have to do to each other to ensure that we're getting a few more 1,000 points than each other to push those scores. So you don't need to worry about incursions. Cataclysms are not worth it, even if you do hit for the multi-kill, because the multi-kills aren't worth that much more than just standard kills, and they're definitely not worth as much as those long-range 10s full-time shots, as you've seen. They're also not worth it and become risky, because if you have practiced to the point where you bang out these headshots and everything's going fluid and smooth and nice, all of a sudden you're then changing to an arrow that has a different arc. So it's even more of a risk that you will miss that shot, and it's not worth taking that risk, I don't think. Hand of Gods, yes, they are useful. Again, on the expert side of stage, there are some uses, more so on some of the other levels, but we'll look at that at a later date. And at this stage, you shouldn't need Hand of Gods. You should be able to rack up those body shots or headshots without too much worry of having to slow them down. The problem that I have with Hand of Gods is if you slow down a group and start headshotting them, Cupids, when they leave those bubbles, are faster than you think. Unless they are deep within the bubble, they're likely to accelerate off of the edge of the bubble, and more likely than not you will miss that shot. The same is true of enemies within the bubble as well. Skeletons have a tendency of all of a sudden being out of the bubble before you know it and accelerating away. That will cause you to miss a shot. Also, there's no visual or sound indication as to when the Hand of God will disappear, and that can be quite confusing because they always seem to last a lot longer than you think, and if you're using a combination of slow time as well, they can last even longer. The problem that I have then there is that they always blink out at the most either inconvenient of times. You take that shot, they blink out, it wrecks that shot, or you're waiting for it to blink out so that you can take the shot, and you might then be missing opportunities for shots elsewhere or other bits and pieces. And that about wraps it up. I think I've covered everything that I want to. This is a pretty good indication of a good time to use a Hand of God, but you shouldn't need this. I'm doing it as, I suppose, a demonstration of something that I've actually worked out of my game now. I don't need that within my game, and you shouldn't either. If you don't work it into your game, then you don't have to work it out. We'll leave that night. No, we won't. No one gets away, not on my shift. And there we go. So that's 2.2 million. That's not a bad score. I did not play particularly well. Yet, as you can see, I've still got a reasonably good, I'd say, respectable score. I embraced a few of the concepts that I've been explaining, and been able to show off a few bits and pieces here as well at that intermediate and advanced level, and ultimately hopefully that's given you intermediate and advanced levels plenty to look at, plenty to think about, plenty to try and incorporate into your own game. What I will see about doing in the future is recording a proper sweaty session when I'm going for it. That won't be till later on in the season, because I don't really feel the need to post anything big points wise at the moment. I always like to try and swoop in at the end. So yeah, that'll do for this one. I've been Silver Tongue Devil. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you as always for your time. If there are any questions, let me know in the comments. If there's anything else you would like me to cover, or any other bits and pieces you'd like me to show you, then let me know. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one.